Welcome to Rainbow Soul Vodcast, where our soulstrology comes forward to help you manage your everyday life, with forecasts and deep dives on natal charts and queer perspectives on the planets, transits, and more. A group discussion about upcoming transits with tips on how to read these transits in your own chart. Hollis offers years of wisdom and natal chart knowledge with Bright Hawk's positive perspective and Lacrosse's inquiry. We offer the complete queer astrology experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soul. Please help us by subscribing, sharing, and commenting and reviewing. You can also learn where else Rainbow Soul is offered on our website at rainbowsoul.show.
Welcome to Rainbow Soul Soulstrology forecast. This is Hollis. I am one of your astrologers here, and you can learn more about me. I have a website. It's divineandrogen.com. There's a link to it down in the description. I do astrology readings and all kinds of other things. Natal charts and synastry, I would say, are my specialty, as well as death charts, like the day someone died. I can help you review that and help you understand that a little deeper. So anyway, and
hi there, I'm Bright Hawk. You can always learn more about me at brighthawkproductions.com. I'm a musician, storyteller, author of The Dancing Hippo, a wonderful, beautiful storybook about resilience, and we have an ebook. It's award-winning and it's really fun. It's got a lot of music associated to it in the ebook. And
Lacrosse Ortiz, I finally made it back in the absence. I have the color journal. I finally finished. It was Pentacles, so there's only one left in the series, and then it'll be done. So it's basically a color journal. Gives you keywords. You ponder them while you're coloring, and then it also has a journaling part, so that way you can journal on top of it, and you can find that on Amazon. And you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
awesome, fabulous. So my friends, this week we're gonna try to take a minute. I need a breather. Okay. So we all need a nice deep breath right now. Now I'm going to invite you to just relax your body. Relax your body and allow your feet on the floor and your seat on the chair. And just take some deep breaths. And just allow yourself to come into center, to ground and center here and now. And I invite you to step out under the night sky and imagine the beautiful stars above your head. And stare up at the sky and allow those stars to fill up your eyes with the sparkling and bright beauty that they are. And as you stare off into the stars, there's one star that's a little bit brighter. It's kind of low on the horizon. And it's not twinkling like a star, it's just burning bright. And And as you notice this, you realize that that is the planet Venus. And Venus pulls in a little closer and kind of zooms in for you. And you get to see her beautiful, amazing round body, the beautiful glow of the planet. And after a few breaths, you realize that Venus is actually going backwards in the sky. Venus retrograde. And sometimes when we think about things going backwards, we think about all the terrible things that might happen, frustrating things. But Venus, she gently reminds you, retrogrades are not meant to scare us or draw fear in our hearts. Retrogrades instead fill our heart. They fill our heart because they help us revisit. They help us renew, to change, to rethink something. And Venus here is just asking you to check in on all the things you say you love. Do you really love them? Just consider the change right now. Don't change it just yet. Just wait. And Venus wants you to renew some things. Check in on your self-love. Are you loving yourself? Is there something you need to shift about your own love, about your own behavior? Is there someone in your world that maybe you need to get more distance from? Maybe you need to shed some old stuff and revisit the things that fill your heart, the things that inspire you. Check in on the things that you love and the people that you love. And just make sure that's all aligned well for you. That's what she's asking you to do, so that you can live a noble and full life. What is not working for you anymore? What is just too much, too stressful? What needs to change? And as Venus backs up into the sky, you can feel the love in your heart grow, especially as you let go of those things that no longer serve you, allowing your heart to grow so much stronger, so much bigger, allowing your heart to be full and completely full of all the things you truly love. As Venus returns in the sky to just a very bright star, a burning planet up in the sky, burning bright, reminding us that the planets are always there, always with us, and that the universe wants good things for you. There is nothing to fear. As we take this moment to come back into our own hearts and center our heart in the here and now, to calm it, come back into our center. I invite you to notice your feet on the floor, your bottom in the seat. And just gently come into your body, stretch your fingers, bring yourself a little smile. Know that you are loved, even by Venus. She loves you, and you love you, if nothing else. There's other people that love you in the world too. And you can open your eyes and come back into the here and now, and be grateful for this moment right now. Thank you, Bright Hawk. Good job. Beautiful.
Well, thank you. That was a beautiful meditation. Took
Great.
me right to Venus.
Whee! Well, we're all in the middle of a Venus retrograde, so instead of being afraid, especially if some things have already come in that you're like, that's gotta change. Let's just recognize what Venus retrograde is all about. All right, my friends. So let's see, I prepared a slide for us. And this is for August 7th through August 13th. And of course, like I've already stated, Venus is in retrograde and has been in retrograde and will be in retrograde for a bit, for the rest of the month mostly. And that's a time for review. So if you find yourself looking at relationships, well, Pluto is in opposition to Juno, so that's going to be happening. And it's just asking you to be sure, is this the relationship you want to be in? So if that's going on, it's supposed to be happening. You're supposed to be dealing with that. It could be other commitments that you have as well. Other things that you might be committed to that you don't want to be committed to for whatever reason, okay? And those kinds of things are a lot to do with Venus retrograde, along with Pluto in opposition to Juno. And Pluto squaring the nodes. I'm just going to say, continue to check in on your friends that are suffering from depression, people that spend a little too much time doing drugs or something like that. Hopefully, they'll be with us in this world, and hopefully they can choose a different path, okay? It's never good to take your own life. I'm just going to say that out loud. It's never a good idea to take your own life. There's a lot of hotlines out there to call, and I assure you it's not what you think it is. As a medium of 30 years, every spirit I've ever talked to that's committed suicide, which is actually the #1 reason people come to mediums, has expressed that it wasn't worth it and it was a stupid choice and they regret it. Okay? A lot of times you end up having to sort of repeat the same thing, although usually next time Spirit will give you a different trait or tool to hopefully deal with it better next time, so you don't do that again. So please don't do that. But Pluto squaring the nodes. If you noticed, what was it, last week or something, Sinead O'Connor, or the week before? Sinead O'Connor committed suicide, right? Okay. So if you have friends like that, or you are one of those people, please do whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe. And the other thing that I noticed is the things that stuck out of this chart on this day was that, so Mars is in Virgo. So Mars in Virgo can be discontent, I think. It can, it's kind of political, I'm thinking. I don't remember who said that. Somebody kind of mentioned that. But then I was like, yeah, I know some pretty political people with Mars and Virgo. And I was like, okay, maybe that's what's going on there. And, because and it can be kind of like pissed off political, like that's where their war is. And so,
yeah.
and I think it's because Virgo is kind of a little bit of a, like, Virgo is the goddess, right? But she's also very earthy. It's very earthy sign. It's very practical. So government makes sense to some degree for Virgo, but it should be fair and well balanced. And of course, we all know it's not. So I don't care what your political view is, it's terrible. And so Mars there kind of makes if you have Mars and Virgo, you may notice that maybe you spend some time with politics and it usually pisses you off. And so that's why, because you want it to be practical, correct, and well done, but it's not. And you understand that there should be some sort of system or some sort of way that we balance each other and we take care of each other, but of course it's not. So, the system's kind of screwed up, really. And so Virgo is very practical, Virgo wants things to be simple and easy, but expertise. And so when you lose the respect of a Virgo, you'll know it. Because they probably won't talk to you anymore. So that's what happens with Virgo. You want to keep them respecting you. You don't want to lose their respect. That's bad news. And so
that'd be the last thing you have in that.
Yeah, that'd be the last of your relationship. But Mars and Virgo doesn't. It's more of a different type of war energy, because Mars is the god of war, right? And it's a little bit more of like a political force, more of like this isn't right, this should be done correctly. And I even noticed myself, being a Virgo myself, being kind of like, why are we throwing out perfectly good food when we should take it to the shelter? And you know what I mean? And I'm even irritated with things like that. Okay. So while Mars is in Virgo, that's what we're going to start noticing. You might start noticing some of that within yourself. Okay.
Mars in Virgo is also a get things done.
Yes, because it's action, right? It's action. Virgo loves efficiency.
There you go.
Like Virgo is the number one efficient zodiac, and so Mars is like, get her done. And Mars is with Pallas Athena, which is strategic, and with Mercury. So if you find yourself talking about your strategy in the beginning of the week, that's because all three of those are kind of hanging out with each other in Virgo. And as a result, all three of them are trining Jupiter, which is actually your good luck. And I was thinking, so right now, if you're taking practical action towards business, towards a better home, or I don't know, weeding your garden or anything like that, or growing things or learning about food, or any kind of action that is meant to better your life or your health, it's good news. Okay? Because Jupiter is about luck. Jupiter is about expansion and headed you towards. It can be kind of spiritual sometimes. And with Mars trine Jupiter, it's saying if you're taking this action now, then it's probably going to lead you to something good. So whatever you're planning now, or whatever strategies you're coming up with right now, because Pallas Athena is involved and Mercury is there. So you might be talking about things that you're going to do, especially related to health, because Virgo rules health. It rules the sixth house in your chart. So if you're a Virgo, you want to pay attention to what's in your sixth house, but it will be related to Virgo because Virgo rules that house. Okay, and that's your house of health. And so any kind of strategies or anything, you're working on a weight loss program, planning surgeries, anything like that right now, it's probably going to work out. And that will be going on for a while. I've seen this trine all week at least. I was surprised that Mars didn't move a little bit further out, but it's moving slow right now. So
yeah. Well, you can see, you were talking about Jupiter. The moon is conjunct Jupiter in Taurus. It's a waning gibbous moon. So it's in a sextile to Saturn, which is a lovely thing. It's in a trine to Mercury, which is a lovely thing. And very soon it'll be trining Mars, just because you see it's right there with Jupiter.
Right. So probably later on this day, or very early on the 8th in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, a Taurus moon, a moon is exalted in Taurus. It loves to be there. The moon in Taurus is all about artistic beauty and creativity and the finer things in life is Taurus. It's trustworthy and determined and warm and affectionate. The challenge side of Taurus is stubborn.
I was about to say, isn't it kind of tenacious? Like
obstinate,
Okay.
can be kind of rigid, because it's a fixed sign. So it doesn't change easily. But once a Taurian decides and makes up their mind that they're doing something, get out of the bull's way. Because once they decide, it's good. It's done.
Once they head towards that red blanket,
Boom.
forget it.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then Ceres is also trining the sun. So it's interesting that we're having all this happen at once. So, because Ceres is about self-nurturing. And if it's trining the sun, who's in Leo right now, that's about your heart. That's about because Leo rules the heart, but also Leo rules the circulatory system, and I would say also just in general, like if you're dealing with any kind of relationship stuff or anything like that, or any kind of like, I have to do this, I can't let this go on any longer, like something's out of integrity and you have to change it. Ceres trine the sun. That's also if you're doing something to nurture yourself, that's going to help you shine brighter.
Yeah.
It's going to help you shine brighter. Yeah. Okay. And this is the 8th. So the Pluto, like I said, Pluto is still squaring, and you could kind of see the big square there, big red square in that. You can kind of make out a big red square, goes all the way around. That's Pluto squaring the nodes and Pluto squaring Juno. If relationships end, just know that Pluto is making room for something else. One door closes, another opens. They're not kidding. I mean, I've had relationships of all kinds, and I really firmly believe that most of us are supposed to have multiple relationships through a lifetime. I think we give ourselves way too much trouble about having one relationship or two. And I think if your relationship is ending, I think that's okay. Just accept that that's happening right now. And or if you're feeling particularly lonely, maybe you've been single for a long time and you were dating someone and now that person's moved away or ghosting you or something. I've been hearing about that. People are getting ghosted. And I'm like, gosh, you know what? Pluto's just trying to clear the way for something better, okay? Especially with Venus retrograde right now. you just want to allow Pluto to clear the deck for you. Okay? Just allow Pluto and Venus to clear the deck for you. And if that's what's going on, just let it happen, as hard as it is. Try to focus in on loving yourself. That should be pretty easy to do with Ceres and the sun in a sextile. Just focus on loving yourself. Focus in on that. That can really help you get through this period of time. Now, with Neptune sextile Pluto, I'm going to say again, mediums, you need to be on your game. I have a mediums group. I don't know how many mediums, practice mediums, I have added to our list in like just the last week or two. Like probably like 10 or 15 practice mediums of people that, you know, they're not professional mediums. They're just people that want to practice. And so I just screen them and make sure they're not scammers. But all these people are feeling that need to communicate with the other side. And that's Neptune, right? That's Neptune spirituality. That's psychic energy. And Pluto is the other side. Pluto is death and transformation. And I find that Pluto often has a lot to do with mediums. So Pluto, sextile Neptune. If you're a medium, thinking of being a medium, practicing being a medium, now's time to study being a medium. Open your schedule up, make time to do readings, whatever you got to do. Now's the time.
And I would add, pay attention to who you are drawn to or called towards. Like, I don't know why I'm supposed to call this. I feel like I'm supposed to call this person, or I haven't thought of this person and I don't know when, but I should reach out to them. Follow those instincts.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing I heard, I think it was from Anne Ortley, that Venus retrogrades bring in people from past lives.
Oh, yeah. So don't be afraid to just talk to people either and meet new friends, because I met a new friend that I was like, I'm pretty sure I know this person from a past life. Wow, this is weird, but okay. And, you know, she kind of feels the same way. So we're kind of like, whoa, that's weird. So we're both kind of at that moment. So just to let you know.
Yeah. So on this day, the Taurus moon, you can see it's sandwiched there in between Uranus and Jupiter. And Uranus, of course, is unexpected things, right? So we're just amplifying that Taurian energy with Jupiter and Uranus in the sandwich with the moon. The moon is also trining Mars, Mercury, Pluto, which is all, you know, we've been talking about that, but it's also in a square to Lilith and Venus. So squares are usually opportunities to make a choice, take action, make a decision. It's this or that, yes or no, not sitting on the fence anymore. So really great trines, Mars, Mercury, and Pluto. Those are all really sweet trines. And then a little challenge in the Lilith and Venus department, which makes me think, you know, careful what you say with your beloved. Maybe don't get in any fights, you know.
Yeah, it can also make
Mercury.
sexuality really intense for some people too.
Okay.
It will depend on the person. They come a little bit closer later this week.
Yeah.
So they kind of get on top of each other later this week.
Right.
But Neptune is comes into a trine with Juno. And I'm really thinking that that's about like psychic connections with commitments, or feeling certain attraction to someone, like you were saying, or it doesn't have to be like a sexual or romantic attraction. It can just be like, I'm supposed to talk to you. I'm not really sure why, but... And that's Neptune, okay? Neptune is it's not just intuition, it's more of spirituality, and it's engagement in that way. So also you might find yourself committing to a new spiritual path, a new way. And nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I think you should explore as many spiritual paths as you can in a lifetime. That's good for us.
Yeah. Well, and then the moon goes into Gemini, and that's, you know, Gemini's a thinker and, diplomat, greeter,
Mhm.
meter greeter,
Networker.
networker. That's the word I'm looking
Mhm.
for. And the moon in Gemini, it's versatile, it's witty, it's charming, it's lively, it's amusing. We're now in the last quarter phase of the moon. It's going to just keep shrinking towards the new moon. So we're bringing things to a conclusion with whatever intentions might have been set at the new moon. Challenge side of a Gemini moon can be disorganized, inconsistent, superficial, manipulative. Geminis, it's the twins, so sometimes things, perspective changes, right? So, yeah, the Gemini moon is going to be squaring Saturn. It'll be in a trine to Pluto and a sextile to Neptune, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sextile is what you want. That's a conversation where two planets sort of let go of their differences and meet in the middle type of thing. Okay. And then they cooperate. So that's,
Yeah, I think of sextiles as flow.
Yeah. Yep. And as we continue on with this Venus retrograde period, as I mentioned before, all of those planets in Leo are going to come together. And as you can see, Venus continues to go backwards, and the moon and the sun are all kind of, sorry, not the moon, Lilith. Lilith and the sun are kind of coming together. But the interesting part is that that Mars and that Vesta is squaring Mars and Mercury. So I was just looking at the numbers, but Vesta is directly squaring Mars on this day. And the thing about that is that Vesta is about spirituality and Mars is about action. So, there might be some actions that you need to take to deepen your spirituality, deepen your spiritual path, even if your spirituality is not something that you've been really thinking about or you've been focused on. You may find yourself focused on it this day. You may be like, I need to do a tarot reading or astrology reading or something.
Right.
And it's about spirituality, not religion. Saturn rules religion. Okay. When I say spirituality, I mean spirituality, not religion. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's important to take care of yourself, and the universe is supporting you in doing that by holding you in a cradle where we have Chiron, the sun, Vesta, and the moon, and Ceres. So that little cradle is holding you and helping you do the healing work you need to do. Because anytime Chiron's involved, it's all about how are we healing ourselves, or
Usually past wounds. Usually it's a wounding that you brought forward, whatever that wound is. That you brought forward. Maybe it's generational trauma, maybe it's something physical. It probably depends on what house Chiron is in, okay? And you can heal that wound and bring it forward and bring it in as a healing for others. And the other thing is that Ceres is trining the moon and Vesta because they're conjunct up there at the top. And Ceres is very much about nurturing ourselves. So, taking care of yourself is going to be easy. It's going to be easy to do an extra meditation on that day. So this is August 10th. So August 10th on Thursday, if you want to do some sort of meditation or deepening of yourself, this is the day you want to do that, okay? So this is the day you want to make time for that tarot reading or something else, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the 11th.
On the 11th, the moon is void in Gemini, 28 degrees. It'll go into Cancer, depending on where you are on the planet, later that night on the 11th. And in the meantime, it's sextiling the North Node. It's sextiling Lilith. It's in a trine to Saturn. These are all very sweet, flowing, yummy aspects. And the challenge would be a square to Neptune.
Okay. Yeah, the moon squaring Neptune. It could slow down your intuition a little bit there. Just
Yeah, I
it
could see
could make
that.
you have to realize a new way that your intuition comes in, or a new way that you're psychic. So if you're a practicing psychic, just watch yourself on August 11th. You know, you might get like some sort of new way of interpreting things, or need to see things differently in order to use, maybe, all of a sudden you become clairaudient and you need to make sense of it. Okay. um so, and the other thing is that Pluto is directly across from Juno, pretty much, and that kind of square that's been happening in the sky kind of perfects almost. um Almost, we're only like 1 degree off, really. Pluto is 1 degree from perfecting that square. And it's actually about 30 seconds, 20 seconds from squaring it. So, and it's, the thing is that you can see that the square in this chart got more intense, right? You see the red lines got more intense. That's because it's becoming perfected, okay? Especially because Juno is squaring the node. So it's going to be very much about that commitment coming up again, about revisiting that commitment. Is that sure what I'm going to want to be doing? I don't know about that. And, just take it slow. And like I said, Pluto's usually making room for you, okay? You just have to trust Pluto. It's kind of scary feeling sometimes, but you just have to trust that Pluto's leading you to the right place, and that there's a bigger picture to all of this, okay? There's a bigger picture to everything we do. And on the 12th, Venus does come into a sextile with Vesta, which I thought was beautiful. So there might be some part of spirituality, or something about your dedication, about what your soul purpose or something like that, that would come into play here. And you may say, oh, I used to really like doing tarot reading for myself every day. I think I need to pick that back up, or something like that. Okay. It'd be something that you really love. So it's a really good conversation with Vesta. Vesta is about your daily, like, things that you're committed to, that you're dedicated to. So it's kind of asking you, what is that thing you wanted to do? And it could be about like channeling or something like that, because it's in Gemini. Vesta's in Gemini. So it could be being some sort of leader or something like that, and helping others learn to channel. And Venus is also in a trine to Chiron. So, and that's also really strong. There's kind of like a little blue triangle there at the top. You can see Vesta is sextiling Chiron. And is also, Chiron is, I put sextile, but it's actually Chiron is sextiling Vesta, but Venus is sextiling, but Venus is trining Chiron. So all of those are happening at the same time in that big, beautiful blue triangle there at the top.
Right.
And that's really going to create some harmony. About maybe you come into a spiritual practice that can help you, cure your trauma, or work through your trauma, or help you gain confidence. Maybe you do some magic work that really helps you pull forward, or you do some moon magic that helps you embrace your, your womanhood, or whatever it is. There it is. It's going to be happening. It's going to get really intense on Saturday, the August 12th.
Yeah, it'll be a great weekend that way. There's just a lot of really positive aspects all weekend. And so
Good.
when the moon enters Cancer, of course, the moon is coming home. The moon rules Cancer. And of course, Cancer is very imaginative and sympathetic, loves the family, hard on the outside, soft on the inside, protective, tenacious, loyal. Challenge side of Cancer is possessive, moody, critical, self-pitying. Could be a nag. But really, the moon is at home in Cancer, and we've got just positive energy. sextile to Jupiter, sextile to Mercury, trine to Saturn. These are all blessing, good flowy energy for the weekend.
Yeah, I really think the weekend will be pretty good. And with Ceres coming into a beautiful sextile with Lilith and Venus, there could be some part of you that recognizes there needs to be some independence in your relationship, but maybe some sexual independence, or maybe you need to experiment sexually or whatever it is. I wouldn't be surprised if sexuality comes into play here on the 13th, because Lilith is kind of a sexual planet or sexual asteroid.
And the moon is sextiling Uranus, which is, doing it differently.
Yeah,
Sextile is Mars and sextiling Mercury.
Right.
Opposing Pluto, of course, right there at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and trining Neptune.
Mm-hmm.
So when you throw in Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, and the moon, you get that cradle. So again, the universe is holding you this weekend, helping you to do what's good for you, and what helps heal you. What are the positive actions you need to take in your life for your greatest good and everyone around you.
Exactly, especially if Venus is retrograde and has moved over the sun. The sun in Leo is really strong, because the Leo's ruled by the sun.
Right.
Now Venus is ruled by Libra and Taurus. So if you need to look at where Taurus and Libra are in your chart, and that will tell you a big point about what's changing for you. That will kind of be like, that'll be the area of your life that's probably most affected by Venus retrograde.
Right.
Because it doesn't have to be relationships. It could be some other commitment. Like, could be
your financial planning, your values, your structures around your financials, your, things like that. And since it's anytime it's a retrograde, it's review, redo, whatever. Those are great times to review, what needs to get reviewed. We talk about retrogrades, we talk about reevaluating what needs to get done and being mindful of that energy. And there's an astrologer named Annie Botticelli, and she talks about the tides. This is the time to sort of see what the tide brings you. This isn't the time to launch something, because that's not what's happening with the tide. It's just going to come back to the beach. So that's a good metaphor for when you're thinking about retrogrades, about, oh yeah, okay, it's not about like casting forward. It's about reflecting, reviewing, and then evaluating and going, oh wow, look what just showed up.
Right.
Oh my goodness, this is such a blessing.
Right.
Look for those blessings.
And this week, so be paying attention to there, especially look at wherever Venus rules, what houses Venus is ruling in your chart. That'll be wherever Libra and Taurus is. And, Mars's effect will be in wherever Scorpio is in your chart. So the first house is usually your physical body or your identity, so there's a lot of cheat sheets out there that will go through each house and really help you understand what, like, that's just like the part, and there's different ways to do it. And I'm just talking, there's many ways to look at houses. Okay. But I'm just talking about if you do it the default way, the way most people do it. Okay. There's a house systems are changed, but if you do the default house system on astro.com, you can get like a little cheat sheet that will tell you what those numbers, see those little pieces of the pie there on the chart, indicate what part of your life is this affecting. Now, this isn't your natal chart. This is the forecast for Boulder, Colorado, right, at 11:11 in the morning on August 13th, right? So of course now throughout the day that chart will slowly move. Every hour, every couple of hours, I think it's every about 2 hours, you'll change zodiac signs. So that's why your birth time is super important, because it will change what's over on your rising, which is that arrow on the left-hand side of your chart, and it will change what's in your first house, for instance. But that's also how, if you can't get your birth time for some reason, we can do a rectification of your chart, which is where we look at the way you look, and we talk about your life, big things that have happened in your life, to try to determine and guess when your time of birth was. Okay, and so I just want to say that, where the pie chart falls with these planets will matter. So where is Scorpio in your chart? Because that's going to be where Pluto affects things and where Mars affects things. And it's very faded energy with Pluto in the last, couple of weeks now. And we'll continue to go on with this Pluto squaring Mars. So Pluto squaring the nodes. So it's very faded kind of energy, okay? It's supposed to happen. For whatever happened, these things are supposed to happen, but they'll rule whatever house Scorpio is in. So it'll affect that part of your life. So you want to look and see where Scorpio is, and then if you want to know where Venus retrograde is affecting you, look and see where Taurus and Libra are. Okay. All right, friends.
Sounds good.
All right.
Be a good week.
It's going to be good. You guys are going to be great. You're going to get through this really easily and without much. Did you have any questions or anything, Lacrosse?
I do have a question. Like when you're saying, like, look for it on your chart. When you look at your chart, are you looking at your current planets? Like, I'm not quite sure.
So what you do is you, and this is very easy to do at astrodance.com, is you take your natal chart, and then there's a little button at the top that says add transits. And so you push that and it puts the transits. And so it'll show your natal chart and all your house placements and everything. And then it'll show on the outside of the circle in green the current transits that are moving in the sky. So your chart in relationship to the stars that are moving, the planets and the stars as they're moving right now. And then you'll start to see, oh, look at that. What do I have? What are my conjunctions? What are the things that are sitting on top of each other? Okay. And those things are going to get amplified. Those two energies meeting together are going to amplify each other. Then we look at, are there oppositions? Because those are going to be really challenging. Oppositions it's one or the other, it's
that's directly across.
Directly across. And then it'll give you a table and it'll show you trines and squares. It'll do the math for you. And you'll start to realize, oh, okay, so whatever you have going on in Leo or in Virgo right now, because there's a lot of planets there right now, stuff's going to be lit up, so to speak. There'll be conversations happening. Let's put it that way. So this is how, astrology is an extremely personal thing to every single person, because every single person's chart is unique. Every single person's, star print has what their purpose is, what their reasons for being here. It can show us about, past lives and our destiny. There's just so much, and it's such a great gift to give yourself. And if you're curious about how it all works for you, I cannot recommend Hollis enough. Yes, I'm totally biased, and I speak the truth.
Okay, so just to use as an example, I'm going to bring up Trump. I call him Baby Trump in my astrology. You could just laugh, okay? Hold on. So just so I
Can you
wasn't
see
sure,
it?
Lacrosse, if you want your chart public, but so
So
here we are.
there's with
We're on
transits.
astro.com. This is Trump. Yeah, Trump's chart.
Okay.
Okay. And so if you click with transits right here, it will put them on the outside. This is these green planets out here. But what you want to look at is that there can be a mixture of things, right? So for his chart right now, he's got Pluto and Capricorn in the 5th house. And he has the sun, which is Leo, and Leo is very noble. It's about doing the right thing. It's about being a good leader. It's about being honest. Usually Leos are pretty honest people, okay? And you can see the sun in Leo on top of his Pluto. It's kind of saying, you lying son of a bitch, okay? And okay, but you can see the sun is on top of Pluto. Now the sun is ruled by Leo, so this is the 12th house. Now Trump has no idea that he is a lying sack of crap because this is in the 12th house. And often in the 12th house, he's not aware of his manipulative power play because Pluto also represents power, you know, like power games and shit like that, okay? And so that's all in the 12th house. So when you see stuff in the 12th house, you're probably unaware of it, but other people probably do see it, okay? And that's exactly what's happening to him.
And
right
Venus
now.
is retrograding right on top of his Mars.
Right. And so Venus is retrograding, which women are saying, no, you were gross, man. Okay. And his Mars is on his ascendant, which is kind of like what makes him not, you know, especially because it's in the 12th house and it's in Leo, which is kind of what makes him kind of an angry leader. The kind of angry leader that he is. He's always been like that. Even 20 years ago when he was in wrestling and stuff like that, he's always been kind of the leader that pulls from anger. But you can see here, when you start to look at these planets out here, you realize that they're affecting it. And when you think about Venus retrograde, right? We know Venus is retrograde. Well, Venus also rules Taurus. 9th house is the house of justice. Okay, has a lot to do with lawyers and courts, and it's about higher thinking and education, okay? And guess what? Taurus is mostly in his 9th house, okay? And Venus also rules Libra, and Libra is down here in the 2nd house and the 3rd house, which is values, money. He's losing money. He's pissing money away because he's working so hard to, you know, fight against all these people trying to bring him to justice. And then also the 3rd house, which is about community and people that support you or don't. Okay, so you can clearly see that that's what's affecting his life right now. That's what's going on for him right now.
And it's
Venus retrograde, right? So when you look at these, you want to look at what it's touching, if anything, what house it's in on your chart, and then where it's ruling. And Venus happens to rule Taurus and Libra. Now the sun rules Leo. Jupiter rules Sag, right? So Jupiter's up here at the 10th in the 9th house in Taurus. It rules Sagittarius down here in the 4th house, his roots. So it has a lot to do with amplifying his history, right? And his trauma. Okay? And that's what we're all seeing. That's what we're seeing. Okay? So this is just Trump's chart because I thought it would be an easy person to talk about right now since he's on stage. But if I'm just using him as an example, but look in your chart, and like I said, Mars rules. Mars is the god of war, so it can create discourse in your life. It can definitely be about your enemies for sure. Okay? And Mars is ruled by Scorpio. Scorpio, 3rd house. Here it is. This is Scorpio.
Mars rules Aries.
Mars also rules Scorpio.
Oh,
So Mars rules Scorpio and Aries.
okay.
And Aries is up here. Where? In the cusp of the 8th and 9th house, which is his shadow. Right. Okay. So it's very easy to see what's happening with Trump. That's why people because he's easy to talk about. But yeah. So but Mars also rules Scorpio. So then Scorpio is in the 3rd house, and that's about community, your friends, people people you work with, people around you, and of course, those people. Some of those people are going to help put him in jail, right? Okay, where he belongs. Okay, so, well, I don't think there's any Trumpers listening to our thing.
I seriously doubt it.
I seriously doubt it too. And if you are, okay. Okay, yeah.
Did I tell you at Pride, I saw so many funny shirts, but this one I actually remembered. It said, "Let's not make America embarrassing again."
Yeah, we were
I
looking
just
pretty
was like,
bad.
"You can hang out." I was just cracking up.
Oh man,
So hard.
Yeah, there was a lot of that at this last Pride we did.
Yeah.
What was that? Longmont
Longmont
Pride.
We did Boulder Pride and Longmont Pride.
Yeah, Boulder. You would think Boulder would have been a little bit more political, but they weren't.
No, they were more political in Longmont for some
Boulder
reason.
was more spiritual. Everybody was ready to.
Very.
Oh my gosh, we had 2 tarot readers in Pride, and both of us were booked the whole time. So that's Boulder, but Longmont's was more about the liberals. Clearly, there's a lot of liberals on the Front Range from probably about Longmont down into Denver. There's a lot of. It's very liberal.
They used to call us a purple state, but now I think we're pretty well. If you go down south, everybody knows Colorado Springs is where it's very red, where it's very
clearly,
by the academy and
clearly some jackass went into a gay bar and shot a bunch of gay people.
I know, right? Terrible. But there's parts of Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs is really north side of town, super conservative. South part of town, super hippie, super liberal, super.
It's always interesting to me though how Boulder is very spiritual and super gay. You can be gay in Boulder and they just love you just the way you are. And there's barely any drag shows. Now, you go down to Colorado Springs. And like she said, it's kind of conservative.
Pueblo.
People look at you sideways if you're wearing too much rainbow, and right? Okay, but there is a drag show every night.
Wow.
Well, it's back to what you've always said, where it's the most oppressed communities need drag the most, and the least oppressed communities. Drag is just another expression, and it barely is barely a blip. You know?
Boulder. I mean, Boulder will have a drag show about once a week or so, and
not very often,
but not well. They have more nowadays.
And
but
if you go north to Fort Collins, they have that's where some of the clubs are.
Right.
And
right. Sorry for my smart speaker. There you go. So, all right. So now we're going to do a tarot reading. And so anyway.
3-card spread.
It's a very interesting thing I noticed about the United States is the more oppressed.
Yeah.
Except that does not apply in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Because you could be gay in San Francisco, and they'll just think you're part of the scenery. But there will also be a drag show every night. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I think same thing goes for
Oregon.
LA.
Yeah.
Oregon, they have a lot of drag there too. So I don't know about every night, but they'll have drag at least
every week.
They'll have drag a couple times a week, 2-3 times a week. Yeah.
Wow.
In Portland.
Yeah,
All
Portland has some really quality drag.
Yeah, they're very
really well done. Really very
Interesting.
together. They're very much an ensemble of folks performing, at least what we witnessed in the couple of years that we went through.
They do a lot more like singing and music.
Yeah.
Somebody plays a piano. They want you to bring your talent to the stage type of thing.
Yeah.
And they just absolutely loved it when I did what's his name?
Elton
John.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just ate that up like candy. Like they just love that one. So.
Anytime you want to come back, Izzy.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll do a 3-card spread for everyone, and this is the Pride deck. This is a queer deck. So each one of these cards is a different piece of art by a different queer person. And so this is, let's pin it so we can see it better. And this is our past. So I don't know how the summer's been going for you, but if you've found yourself more alone, you are amongst many people. Many people have found themselves more alone. And this is about the time we spend alone. And it's actually kind of therapeutic for us. And the reason that this is kind of like a blurry picture for the Hermit, because this is the Hermit, it's kind of therapeutic to be alone because you can rearrange your insides. You can rearrange how things work for you. You can rearrange how you think about things, and maybe even how you handle, problems in your life or whatever it is. And so that's really what the Hermit card is about. It's about like self-contemplation and going inside, okay? And it's important for all of us to have at least some alone time, okay? And for the here and now, this is a Chariot card, and this is very much about making choices. And it's also about travel, and this is about the here and now. So what choices are you choosing right now? And also the strength of those choices and where they could take you in the future. That's really what this is about. We're probably all making choices right now with Venus retrograde. Good grief. We're probably making all kinds of choices. So, and it could be about our commitment to a variety of things, okay? And so that's exactly what this card's about. It's about what are you choosing and how is that going to take you forward in life, okay? And in the future, this is actually about your resources. This is about your resources and finding new ways to make resources. This is about bringing your resources and using resources you already have to make money. And so this is kind of about like a way to make money or a way to increase what you have. So this is actually a really good card about that. And it may have a lot to do with what I said before. So like what I said was that in the past, maybe you've spent some time rearranging the way you look at money or the way you look at other resources in your life or how you use your own energy, okay? And all of those kinds of things are the things that we're contemplating when we're alone. And then you're making choices now, hopefully better choices, to make your life better and to, serve a better life, right? And to lead you to where you want to go. Hopefully you're making choices that reflect what you want to do in the future. And also your resources and how you'll celebrate those resources, okay? And how you'll use those resources to help you in life, okay? So hopefully that will help you this week. Make sure you use your resources to the best of your ability, and rearranging the way you're using them is a great idea. Venus has a lot to do with money and resources, by the way. Okay.
That's right.
Venus retrograde, she does.
Great reading.
Yeah. Great. Thanks.
Anything you want to add?
No,
All
I
right.
didn't get to do much of my research this week, so
Right.
probably have it ready for next week. So sorry.
We'll look
That's
forward
okay,
to
but
it.
we're still in the salmon season, right?
Yes, we
So,
are.
yeah, and when you've talked about the salmon before, how it transforms and changes, and we're certainly doing a lot of that right now. So, just everybody has to transform and change, and things are coming up for all of us, and I think we just need to keep going forward with that and just do the best we can.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Everybody just do the best you can, man.
Leave it to Bright Hawk to just make up some random song.
Yeah.
All right, my friends, please follow us. Please like us. Please share it. Please comment. Let us know how you love it. And remember how to apply these things in your chart. Remember how to look at your own chart, because, I'm doing my best to kind of generalize, but really astrology is always a very personal experience.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, my friends.
Take good care.
Bye-bye.
Wishing you all the best.
Thank you for listening to this week's Soulstrology and subscribing, liking, sharing, and reviewing. We hope you enjoy this dose of Soulstrology and encourage you to embrace the week ahead with an open mind and heart so that you may integrate the deepest of lessons from the stars. Take a moment to step outside and honor the planets, stars, and moon in the sky with your heart. Integrate the messages that resonate and leave the rest for someone else. We deeply appreciate each and every one of you. Always remember that you are perfectly unique human with an exclusive star map of your destiny, your soul purpose, and your heart's desire. Thank you again for tuning in to Rainbow Soul.